Welcome back to Dinar Trend Tracker channel. Here today is a crucial developing story that all Iraqi dinar holders must be aware of. Right now, until the very end of our report, we're going to be concentrating on something that needs your undivided attention. What follows is information regarding an uptick in fraudulent activity that may affect those who own this currency. Within the dinar community, we are witnessing what is being characterized as a monumental wave of currency-related fraud. The people behind these schemes are allegedly become even more hazardous, aggressive, and inventive than before. This isn't your average status report. The events that transpired in 2025 are the primary emphasis of this critical warning. There have been reports of phony exchange centers popping up all over the place in recent months, including on social media, in private messaging apps, in email campaigns, and even at real-life locations near real banks. These activities are set up to look like government agencies. Allegedly, they utilize convincing language, expertly designed websites, and realistic bank logos. This is all a ruse to trick investors into giving over their hard-earned cash or private details. Listen in today as Iraqi Dinar News explains the ins and outs of these alleged scams, why they seem to be targeting dinar holders right now, and what people may do to safeguard themselves from losses. There seems to be a correlation between the increase in fraudulent activity and the rising anticipation of Iraq's financial reforms, the implementation of digital money, and the ongoing modernization of its banking system. Allegedly, opportunists are spreading misleading promises in an effort to take advantage of optimistic investors. Pretended early exchanges, tier-based access mechanisms, and private redemption options are common themes in these assertions. Several individuals have mentioned coming across terms such as exclusive groups, special access codes, contract prices, and similar terms. A strong sense of urgency is being created using these particular terms as a psychological strategy to encourage investors to make hasty, unconsidered judgments. People have been keeping tabs on this for years, and the perpetrators of these schemes appear to be aware of this. Their bet is on the reality that it's easy to let hope or frustration cloud one's critical thinking. To take advantage of this, they are promising early exchange appointments, private internet portals, and exclusive VIP access prior to the launch of any supposedly public rate. In order to get individuals to respond quickly out of fear that they may lose out, these offers are designed to be deceptive. According to reports, the organization supposedly vanishes when an investor gives the scammers what they want, such currency, money, or sensitive data, leaving the victim with no way to get their money back. All over the web, on sites like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and even TikTok. All sorts of phony exchange groups are supposedly being set up by con artists. Many of these online forums give the impression of being very genuine at first look. They employ common banking jargon, realistic branding resembling prominent financial organizations, and expert banners to create the illusion of legitimacy. They often pose as representatives from large banks or members of exclusive in-house groups. Some sources state that these made-up groups are in charge of expedited currency redemptions, a service that real financial institutions do not provide. Scammers can go to extreme lengths to fool their victims, such as pretending to be representatives of legitimate government organizations or international financial partners. By donning this mask, they entice investors into thinking they are safe and get them to provide vital information. Details such as complete names, duplicates of government-issued identity, such as passports or driver's licenses, and even the unique serial numbers found on their dinar notes can be included. The con artists will have you believe that providing this data is essential to the eligibility verification process for investors. Take part in an exclusive program. Apparently, the real goal of this data collection is to compile stolen identity databases for future criminal use. There are other cases where these fictitious social media groups serve as a conduit. Their only objective is to steal personal information or collect money under the pretense of processing fees from unsuspecting investors via deceitful websites that, once again, appear very professional. This year, one of the most concerning techniques has been the establishment of these complex phony websites. Their design mimics that of reputable, well-known financial institutions' online portals nearly to a T. To fool the ordinary visitor into thinking these sites are legitimate, they use convincing images, stolen logos, and meticulously designed layouts. The use of sophisticated tools by some of these fake websites only serves to heighten the sense of legitimacy they project. These can take the shape of automated email confirmations that look like legitimate bank correspondence, phony customer care chat windows staffed by con artists, and downloading documents that look like actual banking forms. The purpose of these complex websites is straightforward. In order to deceive site visitors into thinking they are dealing with a legitimate government-approved organization or exchange center. The site's creators are crooks who take advantage of investors' financial and identity security by capturing their personal details the moment they input them: name, address, ID number, etc. Some reports indicate that these websites proceed straight to financial theft by demanding payment in advance. They could say you have to pay something to get a special deal, have your exchange application processed, or have first dibs on a restricted opportunity. The victims are led to believe that sending money, typically in the form of cryptocurrency or wire transfers, is a normal and necessary cost of the procedure. After the payment is sent, though, the website frequently vanishes. The victim has no means of restitution, no means of exchanging goods, and no means of contacting the criminals. As technology advances, con artists will be able to imitate authentic websites with startling accuracy, fueling the exponential spread of this swindle in the year 2025. A disturbing upsurge in con artists is also something we've noticed. Who employ deceptive methods, such as sending emails and phone calls that seem to come from legitimate banks. Such a strategy, called phishing or vishing voice phishing, has the potential to be quite convincing. Aside from using the official bank logo and email style, the communications can also contain genuine-sounding professional bureaucratic jargon. Reportedly, some con artists have even spoofed phone numbers. This method rapidly dispels suspicion by making the call seem to be coming from a legitimate local bank branch on the victim's caller ID. Scammers call victims and pretend to be from RV exchanges or pick them for a priority group based on their long-term holdings. They sound professional and helpful when they tell investors their window for exchanging RVs has opened. The con artists would next pose as account security experts and ask for sensitive information like social security numbers or account numbers to further secure the account. They may also ask the investor to fill out a pre-exchange form via email, but in reality, it's a phishing link. Some victims have reported that they were asked to pay a small deposit in order to guarantee their appointment, accompanying the identity theft with monetary harm. Due to the use of psychological pressure tactics, these telephone-based frauds pose a significant threat. They create a created crisis by making the discussion feel time-sensitive and urgent. Investors may be threatened with the loss of a one-time exchange window or a very high rate if they do not react promptly. It is the goal of this pressure to cause the victim to freak out and react impulsively. Scammers renting out temporary offices in high-traffic urban areas is one of the most alarming trends observed recently. They will frequently pick spots that are physically near to real banks in order to give the impression that they are an actual exchange facility. Careful planning goes into these physical procedures. In order to pull off their con, the con artists use official-looking signage, have printed materials and pamphlets on available, and even use false employee badges. The unsuspecting victims are led to believe that they can redeem their dinar privately and early if they bring it in person. Professionals who exude self-assurance and expertise meet investors as they arrive. In their examination of the money, these people frequently make use of counterfeit notes, lights or detection pens to make it more realistic. Then, after promising the investor that the money will be placed into their bank account within 24 to 48 hours, they produce a fraudulent receipt that looks genuine. Naturally, the down payment is never received. Everything comes crashing down as soon as the investor walks out of the office. Scammers remove all signs from the premises, empty the office, and then make off with the victim's money. The victim loses all of their assets and gets nothing in return but a piece of useless paper. These criminal networks are prepared to spend a lot of money on physically staging huge operations, which is quite worrisome because it shows how sophisticated they are. They are transferring their strategies from the virtual to the real world in an effort to defraud naive investors of even more money. Scam apps on mobile devices are another emerging evil trend. You may find these apps on many platforms. They say they can help dinar holders with things like checking the status of their exchange, making sure their dinar notes are authentic, or giving them real-time RV updates from fake government or banking entities. Occasionally, these applications come with complex fictitious dashboards. For example, these could display countdown timers, fictitious progress bars that indicate the amount of time till an event, or official-looking approval notifications. In an atmosphere rife with conjecture, the apps are styled to appear practical and expert, feeding on the investor's need for news and updates. Unseen is the true peril of these uses. Actually, a lot of these programs are really malicious software. They can steal passwords, monitor the user's location and other personal information, and, worst of all, compromise the user's actual banking apps on their phone. After installing one of these harmful apps, several victims have reported having their real bank accounts emptied of monies quickly. Scammers sell these apps on social media, form alliances with unsuspecting influencers, or plant false news articles praising the app as a necessary tool for the impending trade. A specialized third-party software will never be necessary for any genuine trade process. According to reports, these frauds are going off the rails in 2025 because Iraq has actually achieved observable and documented progress on multiple fronts. These encompass the evolution of digital currencies, the modernization of banking systems, and the stabilization of the economy as a whole. As a result of these real advancements, investors are feeling hopeful and excited, but con artists are taking full advantage of this optimism. Many investors are hopeful that an official rate adjustment is imminent because to the abundance of true news regarding digital dinar systems, greater international banking connections, and tighter regulatory frameworks. Scammers cleverly capitalize on this optimism to further their schemes. They are cognizant of the fact that people are eagerly seeking updates, that they are anticipating news with bated breath, and that they are physiologically and psychologically hardwired to respond rapidly to encouraging signals. Con artists use these sincere desires as a lure. They propagated unfounded rumors that the exchange had secretly started for insiders or that early access had been granted to a select few. This story is harmful because it leads people astray and catches them unaware. All official financial entities have proclaimed the truth. Once the value of a national currency is officially changed, the change will be announced publicly, made visible, and accepted by all legitimate authorities. Several investors have received information stating that certain parties are surreptitiously participating in what are allegedly tier-based exchanges. Tier 4B, contract rates, exclusive window, and priority list are some of the coded terms used in these messages. Con artists construct these complex hoaxes by resurrecting long-lived beliefs and tales inside the dinar group. Actually, there isn't a single government or financial institution that uses hidden, tiered exchange levels determined by IP addresses. All of these statements are false and made up to make investors panic and send money or reveal personal information in order to get in a line that doesn't exist. Financial authorities and specialists have long disproved the concept of private exchange facilities. However, con artists persist in utilizing this tactic due to its ability to captivate others. The fact that many investors seek the illusion of exclusivity and specialness is something they are well aware of. The actual world of global finance, however, does not permit the preemptive use of social media or email to approach private persons. The entire globe is informed of public pronouncements. Additionally, the public needs to know that legitimate financial institutions do not handle official currency exchanges through private, unverified email connections, Telegram groups, or WhatsApp conversations. Messages seeming to be from large banks on these less formal channels are virtually always fraudulent, regardless of how official they may appear. There are stringent domestic and international regulatory standards that real financial institutions must follow. They are unable and unwilling to function outside of their predetermined, authorized lines of communication. There is no such thing as a legitimate bank that would ever ask for exchange costs in advance, request your currency serial numbers via email or phone, or arrange a secret meeting with you in a chat room. The only places to do business with these banks are their official, publicly accessible branches or their official, secure websites. Hidden linkages, back-channel conversations, or social media groups will never be used in any authorized financial activity involving a foreign currency conversion. It is absolutely a fraud if someone says otherwise. Any genuine method of exchanging currency will be transparent, widely known, and acknowledged the moment it is available. Verifiable and legitimate channels would be used to make official announcements. Mainstream banking institutions, official government websites, and well-known worldwide financial networks all fall within this category. Even in an intimate conversation, it wouldn't be kept hidden. Forex monitors, Bloomberg, Reuters, and the official dashboards of major international institutions are just a few places you may find updates on currency rates. When that happens, investors can easily swap it for any other foreign money at any approved bank in their own country. There will be no secret meetings, tier lists, parking lot non-disclosure agreements, or unique codes. All lawful transactions involving foreign cash will adhere to the same regimented, tedious, and open procedures. Investors should not lose sight of this fact when they are assessing data presented online. When people are highly invested in seeing a certain result, their judgment could get clouded, and they might start to believe unfounded assertions. This very kind of emotional manipulation is used often by con artists. Their messages are purposefully worded in a way that makes them sound limited time, urgent, and exclusive. They warn investors that if they don't move quickly, they might miss out on the chance altogether. This kind of pressure is purposeful. It is a time-honored psychological technique that aims to make victims act impulsively and without thinking things through. One of the most telltale signals that something is amiss is when an unknown individual demands that you part with your money quickly. There should be no hasty choices or reliance on hidden deadlines imposed by anonymous people in a digital message for legitimate financial processes. Staying informed and educated about genuine, standard banking standards is crucial while we continue to follow this issue. Be very wary of anyone requesting sensitive information such as your bank account number, routing number, photo ID, passport, or currency serial numbers prior to an official worldwide release. Another huge warning sign is if someone says that hidden redemption centers are accepting payments. Furthermore, it is always a fraud if someone demands payment in advance, regardless of how little the sum may be. Rate lock-in deposits, processing costs, legal fees, and courier expenses all fall into this category. In order to initiate an exchange, no respectable financial institution will ever ask for a charge. While you're really making the payment at your bank, they'll be completely upfront about any reasonable fees. Rather than in beforehand through private messaging. Investors should remain vigilant and rely solely on publicly verified information. A number of government agencies have noted a dramatic uptick in frauds involving foreign currencies this year. Public warnings regarding fraudulent investment schemes are issued by these agencies, but they do not comment on speculative currency movements. According to these government alerts, con artists frequently deceive victims into parting with their money by promising them enormous profits, redemption prospects, and deadlines that are just not practical. Additionally, they caution that criminals may pose as representatives of genuine organizations in order to defraud governments, treasuries, or large banks. Investors should exercise caution and know that legitimate government agencies do not engage in private transactions, are not offering special insider programs, and you are not randomly contacting folks regarding such stuff. The digital landscape is changing at a dizzying rate as we go farther into the year 2025, and con artists are capitalizing on this change by setting ever more complex traps. Reports have surfaced of scammers using deepfake videos to pose as government officials, phone scams using voice-generated content, and elaborate digital templates to forge documents. There have been reports of con artists posing as bank officials or personnel in phony video conversations. Although these videos are entirely staged, they have a very realistic appearance. No matter how legitimate-looking an unsolicited video conference claims to be offering early exchange access, investors should not trust it. Direct, easy communication with a real, local bank is one of the best safeguards for investors. To be on the safe side, never respond to an unsolicited email, text, or phone contact from your bank claiming to have exclusive early exchange possibilities. Get in touch with your bank instead. Call the number that appears on your bank card or on their website to reach an official representative. Alternatively, you may just swing by your neighborhood branch. The information you receive from actual bank staff will be accurate and truthful. Assuming they deny the existence of any such transaction, then follows that none is taking place. Focusing on the finer points adds another important safeguard. Even the most skilled con artists make rookie errors from time to time. Inspect messages for mistakes such as misspellings, inappropriate language, and improper formatting. Email address .com rather than a legitimate bank domain or slightly modified links on the bank's website. These seemingly insignificant mistakes are frequently the most telling signs that something is not right. Ensure that you verify the URL of any website you visit. Sites that aren't legitimate typically utilize subtle changes that make them seem similar. For example, they might use .net instead of .com or add an extra word to the name of the bank. Also, investors, you should know that no official organization requires the serial numbers of your cash. Scammers may ask for these numbers in an attempt to register you for an exchange or check the authenticity of your notes, but in reality, criminals can use them for anything they want. The criminals can use them to perpetrate additional types of fraud or fool unsuspecting victims into believing they are purchasing legitimate currency. Keep your serial numbers private at all times when shopping online. Instead of using private messaging, legitimate banks will physically check your currency at the counter while you exchange it. Offering to hold your currency is another popular ploy used by scammers. Customers may be led to believe that keeping their funds in their safe group will result in quicker processing times or higher rates down the road. They could even propose sending a bonded courier to retrieve it. The fact is that your money should never be in the hands of anyone other than you. You can lose all of your dinar investment in an instant if you provide it to a mysterious third party. To conduct a legitimate exchange, you must personally deliver your currency to the bank. Those who have been waiting patiently for years as investors need to keep their emotions in check and use reasoning instead of emotion. When people are emotionally vulnerable, when they are weary, angry, or want a change, scammers prey on them. Skillfully capitalizing on the tremendous hope of many investors that this year will finally bring financial transformation is their strategy. However, victims are formed when people let emotions like enthusiasm or exhaustion to dictate their financial decisions. Confidentiality, advance payments, or exclusive invitations won't be necessary for the actual RV, should it ever materialize. The truth is always visible, even in dim light. Protecting oneself and others in the community should be everyone's goal after watching this report. If you come across questionable communications, fall victim to phony websites, or are approached by people pushing these early exchanges, be cautious. The platform administrators and, if necessary, the police should be notified of any opportunities. Please inform your friends, relatives, and other investors about these cautions. One of the most effective ways to prevent scammers from operating is to educate others. The less victims these thieves can conjure, the more people will know to be on the lookout. Raise awareness within the community to forestall large-scale financial losses. I want to stress one last thing to all of you viewers before we wrap up this report. Right now, patience is your best weapon. Iraq has made genuine strides in its economy. There is evidence that their banking system is being modernized. Furthermore, their digital money platform is actually developing. However, this in no way indicates the start of a speculative exchange. Everyone will be informed as soon as something official takes place. A private code or secret connection is not Required. No particular group membership is required of you. Additionally, there is zero chance that you'll ever be asked to pay in advance for the opportunity. Yes, it is that easy. Since con artists realize that individuals are hopeful, they ramp up their activities. Before any serious announcements are made, they intend to steal from investors. For that reason, you need to keep your wits about you and your investment safe. The things you have clung to for so long should not be taken by thieves. No deal, no matter how enticing, can compare to the value of your future. Sharing this information will help you protect your money, your identity, and other investors. Please remember to take precautions, keep yourself informed, and have a plan B as we near the end of this special report on the Dinar Daily. Avoid being manipulated by people who use false promises or insinuated sense of urgency. Rely solely on official documents that have been made public and may be verified through established financial institutions. If and when the genuine transformation occurs, it will be announced to the public, and you will be prepared. Enjoy the video. If you want to be up to date on important information that will help you safeguard your investment and future, subscribe now.